Mr. President, before we get started, there's a change on the agenda. Amend on item page 4, item 11, is Gabriella Bellagio McKnight. Should be step 3, not step 5 as listed in the agenda. So when we approve the agenda, it should be approved as amended.
Okay. Okay, you ready? Good evening. Call this regular meeting of the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education to order this Thursday, December 5th, 2019. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Philo, call the roll, please.
Mr. Andrew Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Jerry Browning.
Here.
Mr. Pat McCourt.
Here.
Mrs. Katie Malad.
Here.
Ms. Mary Reister.
Here.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Browning.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. Any additional comments? Okay.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Thursday, November 7th regular board meeting.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. McCourt.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Malad. Any additions, corrections, comments?
Mr. McCourt.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries. Board reports and good of the order. Mr. McCourt.
Oh, thank you. Just wanted to say, this last month, been going to some basketball games and some music events, and, it's kind of a busy time. We have this weekend some more music, which I won't steal my partner's thunder, but
Go ahead.
But it's been kind of a fun month with the holidays. The kids, if you go into any of the classrooms and see them, they were ready to get out for that break as well. I'm sure they're going to be ready to get out for the Christmas break. But also just getting around every Friday morning, I'm involved with a meeting on the construction site of the new primary building, and if you've gone by just to see what's going on out there, new face brick is being laid, permanent windows are being put in. You're seeing some colorful panels, if you will, in the windows, and this thing is really getting to where it's exciting. We've taken multiple tours through the building just to see it, but this thing is all coming together, and believe you me, Mr. Patrick is right on top of things, making sure that that June date that they're going to hand us the keys, and we have got a very, very tight schedule after we have the keys in hand to get people moved into the new buildings and move from one old building to another old building. But it's really, really going to be exciting. And we will, our plans, as the board has talked, is to get as many people through that brand new building as possible. So kids, parents, grandparents, neighbors, community, everybody is going to get the opportunity to come through and see the new building. Also was a part of, and I heard the number was 800, but serving 800 people Thanksgiving meal at the East Building over at Baker. This is something, gosh, I don't know who would be headed that up. The Barr family, most certainly, the Walker family. These groups spend endless hours getting stuff prepared to serve a great meal, and the entire board was there serving the meal along with administrative people. Mr. Lawley was there, of course, and Mr. Philo was there. So this is something that the board looks forward to every year, and just to be able to, to give a good meal to somebody, that may not be able to have that meal on Thanksgiving. It meant a whole lot to me. So I appreciate all their efforts, and I know we've got a lot of great comments from the folks who did partake in that meal with us. So that's all I have, Mr. Wilson.
Reacher, yep.
All right. Well, first, I want to say huge thank you to not only my community, but to Pam and Patsy, Betsy, Gretchen, Sherry, everybody who helped with the process of getting and delivering 105 poinsettias to our 2 nursing homes in town, as well as 105. Let's see, it was 135 altogether, 105 to the Dayton VA, and it also helped benefit the Fairborn Music Club. So that was a tremendous undertaking, and I'm thankful to everyone who was involved in that. Again, middle school Thanksgiving was fantastic. It's always fun to see the kids. They're always so well-mannered and polite and please and thank you. And then I also served at the senior center for Thanksgiving. We had some young men and women from the Leo Club from here at the high school serving, who were a tremendous asset. So that was fun. Fall sports, or winter sports, sorry, are well underway. Middle school basketball last night, some tough losses, very last second win. That was pretty awesome. And this Saturday is the winter celebration, high school choir, bands, all of that stuff. If you have time, you should probably go. Saturday at 7, Sunday at 3. Grand Nationals in Indianapolis was fantastic. Our high school marching band had a tremendous showing, something to be very proud of. So that's it.
Okay. Mr. Browning.
Okay. Yeah, Mary already mentioned a couple things related to the band and choir with winter celebration and BOAs, and I just want to echo what she said. It was, for the band at the BOAs, it's the biggest band competition in the nation in Indianapolis, and they had by far their best performance of the year. I watched graduates of Fairborn, and specifically I wanted to congratulate Brandon Easterling. Brandon is a junior at UD, and he was first team all Pioneer Football League for UD this year, and he led the nation in tackles for their division of football. And he was also on the academic, first team academic for the Pioneer League. So to me, it's really neat to see Fairborn kids succeed. Went to the Magic Kingdom breakfast. That's a neat fundraiser for the music department. You have all the high school students dressed up as princes, princesses, various costumes, and then what's neat is watching all the little kids walk in the matching costumes, and they hunt for the one they can get their picture taken with. And it's fun to watch them, just the crafts and the dancing and those types of things. The basketball, been to the 7th and 8th grade girls basketball games. Same thing, tough losses, but I can tell they're playing hard. The 7th grade team's interesting. They don't have a lot of kids that have played basketball before, but they've got good athletes and they're learning, which is what's important. Fall sports awards, same thing, a lot of scholar athletes there, but one of the things that impressed me was our girls soccer team had a combined GPA of 3.71. That's for the whole team. So they got an award from the league for that. And then the band banquet, it's neat seeing that end of year event, because you can tell how the kids come together through the course of the year and become a very tight-knit group by the time that banquet happens. And there's a number of us here that went to that. And then finally the Baker Thanksgiving. Again, that's a neat event, getting to serve the kids. And the thing that always strikes me is how polite they are going through the line. Pretty much every one of them says please and thank you as they're going through the line, which is huge to me. So that's it.
Okay, I'm going to take my turn here and allow Mrs. Milad to have the last on her last board meeting. So I don't have much to add. Yeah, it's good to see the turnout for the Baker Middle School Thanksgiving feast, and we have some upcoming events that have been discussed, but we also have a geography bee next week at the intermediate school, which is an interesting event. This is the second year they're having that. It's works similar to a spelling bee, but it's based on geography items, and it's some pretty tough questions. And we have also a DARE graduation coming up on the 19th, which is another great event and great thing that we do with our school resource officer here. So with that, I will turn it over to Mrs. Malad for her
final comment.
Final comment.
Yeah, so it's bittersweet, but this is my last board meeting. Barbie will be taking over in January, and I couldn't leave without knowing that you're all going to be in really good hands. So I feel very confident. Back in, when was it, 2015?
Yeah.
A former board member approached me about joining the board, and I had my daughter's in the district, and I thought, oh, there's some place I could do something good, My dad was a superintendent. My mom was a teacher. I'm a teacher. School's something I know. I get that. So I thought, yeah, I could do that. And here we are 4 years later, and I think nearly every event you mentioned, I was at, but because I had to be. So life has taken a different turn, and I'm blessed with a kid that I adore being with. And unfortunately, I get about 3.5 more years with her. And that's really important to me right now. And I don't think anybody can fault saying that I just want to go be a good mom for a while. And that's where my focus needs to be. Because when you get a special kid and she's going off to college, and we raised her so she'd leave, so I get about 3.5 more years to get it done right, and I really want to focus on that. So I'm not leaving under any drama or any, don't spread any rumors that there's anything bad. I love these people. It's time for me to focus on something different. So thank you all very much for 4 years of good times and good decisions and getting everybody. I feel like I'm leaving in a place when everybody's just going awesome, We're at new buildings and good report cards and, great teachers and great staff. It's time to walk away and say, it's okay. So, thank you.
Well, and thank you for your service. Okay. Forgot to welcome everybody. We've got a good crowd here tonight. I'm not used to this, so good to see so many visitors. I know many of you are here for various presentations and things that are coming up. We'll move on now to recognition of visitors and public comments. If anybody wishes to address the board, please step up to the microphone at the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 5 minutes. Okay. Seeing no one, we'll close recognition of visitors and move on to school district presentations. Mr. Lally.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. First up tonight, very exciting times continue with our Skyhawk Chess Club, and they are here tonight. They are state champions once again. And I believe we have the coaches back in the room, if they would come forward and talk about our chess club and the continued success that they are having.
I was going to say, you could bring bring the trophy up and show it off.
Yeah.
Now, this is the 5th year that I've been involved with these folks, and it is my absolute pleasure. This is an amazing program, and it has started from nothing. Much credit goes to Mr. Mumford for that, for walking into a situation where I probably wouldn't have walked through the door and starting a club that now has 2 state championships. Our 5th grade state champions this year are repeating from their performance last year as 4th grade state champions. I can tell you from my experience in competitive chess that is anything but guaranteed, and it is very remarkable. So at this time, with your permission, I don't know what you have, but I'd like to call our team members forward. Last year, I traveled to state grade levels with 4 kids. This year, I traveled with 9, which was a phenomenal improvement, because one of the reasons that we work so hard to obtain funding is we try to make this a doable exercise for families regardless of personal circumstance. And as a result, everything is merit-based. No child is on my team because of the number of years they've been in the program. No child is on my team because of what grade they happen to be in. Everything is earned in this program, so just being able to go to these tournaments is a tremendous accomplishment. And then to perform under pressure in a different city is amazing. So at this time, let's bring up William Likens and Liam Likens, competing in 7th grade for my team this year. William, if he had had team members from the same physical school building, probably would have had a shot at a team title as well, scoring 3 out of 5 in an extremely tough room. Davis Anderson, competing in 8th grade, was actually in the same circumstance, and because at state grade levels, the only divisions are by actual grade that they're registered in. We don't have the possibility of being paired with people close to us in rating. Most divisions in chess are rating based, so stronger kids are playing stronger kids. When you're playing kids in your own grade level, there is no guarantee of how strong your competition will be. The only guarantee is the higher your grade level, the more ringers are going to be in your section. So 3 out of 5, Davis, in your first trip is phenomenal. That was a tough room. I looked at the rating list in that room. I would have been happy with 3.5 if I had been playing. Matthew Wardle, competing in 6th grade. And our youngest contender from 3rd grade, Emma Kunkel. And now I'd like to bring up our 5th grade state championship team. Our captain, Gabe Kunkel. Xander Moore, Kaylee Likens. Do we have Tatum Myers here?
Come on up, buddy.
Well, come on.
Come on. You made it.
This particular tournament is a 5-round tournament. For those who aren't familiar with how this stuff works, you get 1 point for a win, half a point for a draw, and no points for a loss. Generally, you need at least 3.5 out of 5 to have any shot at a trophy whatsoever. They count all kids in the same section from the same physical school building as a team, provided there are at least 2 that fit that criteria. I had 4 5th graders. They count the top 3 scores. Usually you hope for at least 9 points out of your top 3 scores to have an opportunity at first. And that's exactly what we got, because I have 3 young folks who managed to pull 3 out of 5, which means they were about a half point from a personal trophy, all 3 of them. And we finished a half a point ahead of Mason, which of course makes me a very happy person. So, come on, bring the trophy. And I'm not going to take up all the remarks time, so. But I'm very proud of our kids, needless to say. Well, let's do this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's put it in front where folks can see it.
Squeeze in, everybody.
But part of the reason I wanted to emphasize the other points is just because we don't have enough kids in all grade levels to be competitive as teams. Doesn't mean I don't have some really outstanding kids in those sections. So if you know anyone in the junior high or high school, please send them our way.
Got it.
They need help.
All right.
Yeah, can we get our picture with the board members up
guys
front
will
here?
go
Do you have anything else to say? Anything to add?
Did you want to add something?
Yeah.
Do you want to add?
He sort of stepped on my act.
I'm sorry.
As I was, as a matter of fact, I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry to do this to you. I'm very, very sorry to do this to you, but nevertheless, I'm going to do it to you, and I'm doing it to you out of love. Get up on your feet. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. You guys should also know that out of 350 kids, that tournament had 350 kids. And every one of these guys here contributed, and they walked away with the trophy. Out of 350 kids. That's against all odds, we prevail. So here we are 5 years later. This is at the end of all of our efforts and all of our works, and we have, as they said, the proof is in the pudding. Yeah. And if that's the case, we would be the, what is the Jell-O? The Jell-O pudding factory right about now? All right. Let's go ahead on. I'm done.
Scoot to the middle. We want to shake hands and get a picture.
Wherever you want us.
Right over here.
Right over there by Mr. McCord.
Let's play follow the leader.
Oh, no, no.
Come on.
Good.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Because we love you.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Where are you going? Short people get up front. I'm like the bouncer. Get back in the photo. I'll be right here. Kevin?
Thank you so much for having us here this evening. We very much appreciate it.
Mr. Wilson, if I may, I just want to speak to the chess club for a second. You know, we say, and I guess I get involved more with high school athletics than anything, but we talk to the athletes, and we tell the athletes, and I want to tell you the same thing because it's true. You people and your efforts make a difference in our community. You people get our community excited about you, about kids. You represent us, even though maybe you don't think you do, but you do. You represent this board, you represent your school and your community. So I want each and every one of you to feel good tonight about what you've done, and know it's just not at the school level. It goes way beyond outside those doors into the community. And they see it, and they're just as proud of you as we are. So thank you for your efforts.
Yeah.
Good job.
The statewide championship gets recognized, like it says, all over the state. So, Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, everywhere. They know that Fairborn is the state champions in 5th grade chess. So congratulations.
Thank you. Next up, Fairborn City Schools is a sponsor to the Fairborn Digital Academy. And to continue to meet guidelines, a representative from the Digital Academy has to give a presentation update every so often. And here from the Fairborn Digital Academy is Jessica Biggers.
And while Jessica's coming up, maybe we can give the chess families a chance to go, unless you really want to stay and hear the rest of everything. You know, I feel like maybe y'all have dinner to go eat. Yes. Sorry about that, Jessica.
That's all right. I'm used to talking to 18 below, so
Yes.
they made me more comfortable. I'll let them. I'm really short too, so I'll pull this down a little bit. Okay. All right.
do.
My name's Jessica Biggers. I'm the principal at Fairborn Digital Academy. As Jean had said, I'm kind of pinch hitting for Eric tonight because he had to be at a final that he has. So I'm going to be brief, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. During the 18-19 school year, we had 321 students enroll from Fairborn or contiguous districts. Of those 321 students who came through at some point, we had 50 students graduate and receive high school diplomas, which is a big deal for those 50 kids. Our state report card, while it wasn't our best state report card, it was still pretty good. We received an overall rating of meet standards. We did not meet standards in the area of gap closure. As a result, we've been working with staff to develop interventions to make sure that we're meeting the gap closure as well as meeting our students' individual needs. In comparison to other online schools, we continue to excel in the areas of graduation rate as well as test passage rate. But again, we're always improving, we're always working with our students, and we're looking forward to continuing to be able to provide students with a non-traditional way to receive a high school diploma. Due to the current ODE definitions of educational opportunity and participation, we did go over budget for the previous school year, but we did improve our attendance rate by 5%, which is quite a bit. And every day we're working to improve that attendance rate and student engagement. We remain compliant legally with governance and operation, and we work with the sponsor to make sure that we are continuing to be compliant and can remain open as an educational option. That's kind of all I have.
Great.
Is that good? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes, thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's a great option for those students that have any multiple issues and challenges in their lives. Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, from the Greene County Career Center monthly update, Mr. Mike Eaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, the board. Just wanted to give you a pretty good update on what's been happening. For one, probably the biggest thing is right now we're in the middle of the Career Awareness Days, which started yesterday and go through tomorrow, which is an opportunity for sophomores from all 7 districts in the county to visit the three career tech programs of their choice. Fairborn students actually signed up to attend 212. Yesterday was their day. Just as an additional, you have the normal programs that we've had for the last 10 years or so. Visitors also were learning about the new offerings that we're going to start this summer at the new facility, which include cybersecurity, engineering technology, and aviation maintenance. The online application for those students looking to enter next fall went live on our school homepage yesterday. Believe it or not, 96 students enrolled in our first registration yesterday. Wow. So, don't know how many were from Fairborn, but we got a pretty good. That's a great response. We actually believe that's the biggest single day enrollment in our history. Let's see. As I say, and yesterday was the day that Fairborn went. So, I'd suspect that we have some students from Fairborn going. Next thing I want to talk to you a little bit about, at the OSBA conference this year, there was a presentation done with the Beaver Creek City Schools and the Greene County Career Center. That was a smashing success, and I didn't see anybody else from the board there, so I thought I'd take a chance to kind of update you on what it was all about. You know, back in 1914 when we hired our new, our current superintendent, one of the first tasks that he took on was to do a little bit of strategic planning. And as part of that analysis, we also discovered that Beaver Creek was also looking at ways that they could better serve the needs of their community. So, as it turns out, they discovered that their need for more engineering and other STEM-related courses dovetailed well with our findings that largely unmet regional needs centered around aerospace, whether it was engineering or manufacturing, or IT. So getting together, they found that it was an opportunity for both of them to take advantage of. Now, demographics of Beaver Creek are a little bit different from Fairborn, but most of the families, as you probably are well aware, serve in professional positions out at the base. But neither Beaver Creek nor the Career Center had really adapted well to the 21st century needs. And as they got together, they shared the fact that many students didn't even know what was involved in careers linked to the major employers in the region. So they decided to commit to improving the Project Lead the Way program, which gave us an opportunity to start reaching down. Right now we're reached down into the 6th grade. We start with some engineering courses, introduction to engineering courses in the 6th grade. So the bottom line is that new programs were added in 2017 that attracted some 799 new students. 2018-2019 year, 1,446 enrolled in the Project Lead the Way courses. So whatever we did the first year obviously got the attention of folks and improved our attendance. So, and another almost 1,100 entered the program this year. Bottom line, Beaver Creek started from scratch, found they could not deliver the level of programming and commit financially to the resources on their own. And they realized that a partnership with the Career Center could maximize relationships with local businesses and industries, as well as offer more higher education options similar to College Credit Plus. Now, I know the engineering pathway exists at Fairborn, and I think we may want to consider or look carefully at providing additional resources to make our program grow more, just as theirs did. I know that I've gotten the feedback from Greg Haynes, who is our superintendent for the satellite program. He says that our teachers here are great. So I just want to make everybody aware on the board that we have some things that we're looking to do, and we're looking to improve and expand the program, having succeeded in Beaver Creek. Another couple of very small bits. The Information Technology Program concluded its annual Business Professionals America Food for Friends drive. This year's total of 4,320 some odd pounds far exceeded any previous record amount over the last 15 years of sponsoring that event. And they provided meals for over 3,600 people. To transport the food down to the Dayton Food Bank, it took 2 pickup trucks, 3 SUVs, 5 students' cars, and a partridge in a pear tree. That last part's not right. Lastly, just want to remind everybody that on Thursday, the 16th of January, from 5 to 7 at the main campus, there's going to be our annual open house and chili dinner. It's an opportunity for parents as well as kids to come and visit the school, meet the staff, and learn more about career options, job placement, and scholarships. It's free and open to the public. Are there any questions?
How's the new building?
It's almost completely enclosed. It will be enclosed by next week, and with a little bit of luck, we'll have the entire, at least the middle section up to room temperature by Christmas. So it's doing well. We're having some issues out at the hangar with getting our permit approved by the county, and I could go into long-winded detail on that, but it's an ugly story that you don't really want to hear.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, I was going to comment on the Fairborn Friends of the Library, and we contacted the construction technology instructor there at the Career Center. And the juniors in that class will be building for the Fairborn Friends of the Library 20 of the little free libraries to place in all about town. They're doing this for about $50 per little library.
Mm-hmm.
to buy those kits online is $250 to $300 each. So the kids are getting an opportunity for community service and construction design and execution and also saving a lot of money.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
So,
And also in the Fairborn paper was an article about a local electrical contractor. The gentleman that's the president graduated from the Career Center in 1979, and he has 22 current or recent graduates working on the construction project at the Career Center.
yeah, they actually spent the summer building all the wiring harnesses
Yeah.
because of the fact that we decided to strive for the impossible and build a school in 18 months. That there are an awful lot of things that go into building a school that rapidly had to be done prefab and off-site. So that's one reason. Our interior walls are precast, hauled in, and set up. Our wiring is all done with pre-done, and all I have to do is just lay them out, assemble them, stick them, and connect them up. Almost like it's sort of like building a car, except it doesn't move as fast.
Yeah, and hope you don't pinch the wires when you tilt up the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at the end of this article, it mentions that the journeyman electricians earn about $31 an hour. So
Yeah,
the
for all of you brand new teachers, $31 an hour translates into about, by the time you get finished, about $75,000 worth of annual income when you throw in little things like overtime
Yeah,
and incentives.
yeah, and they come out of the Career Center and they can work into that pretty quickly. They'll be at that level before their peers will graduate college. So, and
With no debt.
and earning $70,000 a year. So.
With that, thank you very much, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Mr.
Next
Lowry,
up for our,
you'd
you
like
want
to
me to
take the
go?
doctor to
Yes,
the
I
head?
was going to.
Yes.
If they were dentists, I'd punish them with the financial report. But we'll punish them with the financials.
I will jump ahead.
Oh, did I mess you up?
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, on behalf of the Fairborn City School District and the Fairborn Board of Education, I want to recognize the Fairborn Vision Center and the Rotary Club for your support for our students. Every year, the Fairborn Vision Center and the Fairborn Rotary Club partner provides vision screening for kindergarten students in the Fairborn City Schools, and that's about 357 kindergarten students were screened. Of the 357 students screened, 271 passed the vision screening, and 43 demonstrated the need for additional screenings. We all know that identifying vision impairments is critical to a child's success in school. I want to thank Dr. Jerry Neely, Dr. Betsy Snyder, and Dr. Stephen Schroeder for providing the vision screening and for providing families with additional information for their children to help their children see and be successful in the classroom. I also want to thank the volunteers of the Fairborn Rotary Club for their help with this very important project. The commitment of the Fairborn Vision Center to the health and well-being of our students is greatly appreciated. The support and care shown to our youngest children will enable each of them to reach their full potential. Again, on behalf of the Fairborn Board of Education, we thank you for your continued support to the Fairborn City Schools. You have been doing this for a lot of years, and we deeply appreciate that. If we could get you to come forward, we have a presentation of a nice plaque and a picture with our board members.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta stay out here.
I guess you stay out there.
We really appreciate you recognizing us. I've been in practice in Fairborn now for about 48 years. And 40, we've done this vision screening with the kindergarten kids and trying to help the school nurses because it's so difficult to work with the little kindergarten kids and get an accurate assessment of their visual status. And so it's been a primary project of our office and accompanying with Rotarians in the community to do this each year. And we understand the importance of it, and we appreciate your recognition tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't need to stay, you can run. On target, on budget. Right on track. We're off by $7,000 out of 20 million. Our expenditures are off by 28,000 out of 17 million. It's a little misleading because we're off a little bit on employee benefits this last month. It'll be doubled up next month, so we'll be more factual. But everything is right on target. The thing that worries me most when we get into this time is salaries and benefits, and we're tracking right on target in terms of, we always have last minute additions after we've done the budget, so we're right on target there, which is good. And in terms of, we're tracking that we'll probably be at about between 30 and $31.5 million. So we'll build up our cash a little bit from where we ended last year, but not as much as we did the year before. So as I said, when the spouse asks you how the finances they're doing, honey, we're okay. So when I give these monthly financials, though, I always like to add another piece of information to try to educate our public on finances, because finances are like a Russian novel. They're long, they're complex, they're boring, and everybody dies at the end. So tonight, the Board of Education will vote on the new rates and amounts for calendar year 20 for the property taxes. And so I wanted to update you, compare those rates that you'll vote on per the current rates that we're at. In terms of, these are three levies that we have. We have the bond issue that is originally voted in 1999. Its original millage was 2.9 mils. Through valuation increases, is that valued down to last year, this current year, the effective rate was 2.15 mils, okay? And so this next year, it'll go down another 0.15 mil, down to 2 mils. So in terms of when we talk about that we don't get more money when valuation goes up, this sort of proofs that out. When we look at the bond issue that was just passed 3 years ago, its original millage was 2.9 mils. Last year it was 2.8 mils. That will fall a whole quarter of a mil, and in terms of down to 2.55 mils. And mils are $1,000 per, or $1 per thousand. They're not millions. The emergency levy, which I'm going to talk to a little more in detail, that was first passed in 2007 at 8.6 mils. It was renewed in 2012 and in 2016. That's a 5-year emergency. That'll need to be renewed again in 21 or 22. In 2019, it was down to 8.05 mils, and it will fall down to 7.94 mils. So of those three levies, they combined were 13 mils. The new valuation that people will pay on their property taxes next year is 12.49 mils. So it drops a half a mil. For $100,000 value in a house, that would save people about $18. Now, you'll only see that decrease if your valuation did not go up, or went up less than everybody else's. Nobody will call the board office in January and say, why did my taxes go down? They always call and say, why did they go up? But in terms of increased valuation is a good thing. And that's one of the things that we talk about where we want to improve property values. We want to improve agricultural and industrial values in Fairborn. More valuation means less millage and more dollars that can come in. So if you see your taxes go down a little bit, this will be the reason why. Are we going to shout it from the rooftops that we went down half a mil? No. It's going to bring in the same amount of money as it did before, but it should be spread the taxes over everybody else. Each of the board members got a packet on this renewal levy, this emergency levy. And I wanted to talk a couple years early just to plant the seed in your mind, is people always think you're constantly on the ballot, you're constantly on the ballot. Well, a lot of this is these renewal of emergency levies that you're not getting any more dollars for. You've already renewed that twice, and we'll be up again in 2 years to do another one. So I'd like the board to think about what's called a substitute emergency renewal levy. This would, if we put it on the ballot, phrased it as such, we could do it for a continuing period of time, which means it would not have to be renewed again. It would be at the current millage that it's at, the 7.94 or whatever at the time, but also has a provision in it that any new construction or any new valuation is you get that rate times that. So you'd see a small growth. But those people that think, oh, they're building a new subdivision on the other side of 675, they won't pay the same taxes as us in 5 years, they will pay that. So very minuscule increase, but the main thing is would make it continuing. Means we would not have to come back in 2026 and 2031 to come back to renew it. We could put it on for a continuing period of time. Currently, Beaver Creek has a levy on the March ballot that is the same substitute emergency renewal. Miamisburg has done it successfully. So something to think about when we get closer to that time. Between now and then, we have the bond issue, but in terms of 21, we'll be here pretty darn close. So any questions? Barb, I'll give you a copy of that language as well. So thank you. That's it.
Next is Mr. Wilson.
Well, Katie?
No.
Yes, Katie.
Katie.
When you and Mr. Browning and Mr. McCourt first came on the board, needless to say, it was a
life changer?
very changed school board. I have appreciated your input, your candor, your viewpoints, both from a parent and a teacher in a neighboring district. I think that kind of input is very important in part of our decision-making process. It's always good to see what other districts are doing, and missed that from Jerry Luce when she was on board. So it was good to have somebody come in that give that perspective. So, and I can fully appreciate why you want to dedicate your next 3.5 years to raising your young one to be the best adult that you can possibly make. So, thank you very much for running, for your service, for your dedication to the board. We have cards and a plaque here, and I will also turn this over to the other board members if they wish to say anything. Start with Pat and just work our way down here.
Gee, it seems like it shouldn't be 4 years when we did this, but when we first started this, Jerry and I, we ran on a ticket. Jerry and I ran together. And then when we heard Katie was coming on, we the three of us kind of grouped, and we walked this cotton-picking city from,
There was
Yeah.
no doorknob left untouched.
yeah, oh my gosh,
Got bit, got stung.
yeah,
I
yeah.
did get bit by a dog.
But, I mean, it was a great time. We rode around putting information on doorknobs. I said I was going to be a doorknob salesman after that, but because we knew every doorknob in town. But Katie came along, man, she was a trooper. She came right along every time we were out, passing out information, and it just says a lot about Katie. And she came on the board with a great background, I think, as a board member. She, like me, when I served on the board back in the 90s, got a chance to see what it's like being a board member when your kids are in school. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not so good. But she weathered through it just as I did. But a great lady with a great family. Husband, yeah, so, but,
He's in a backpack.
oh, is he? But no, Katie, it's been a pleasure. We will miss you. You will always have a home at this table.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I'm not going to talk because if I do, my eyes will start leaking. So
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what Pat said. I commented when Pat was talking. I remember the first phone call to her, the first time we talked after we found out she was running. And, you know, we had a good conversation, and it
Marty
was
missed
fun.
me at lunch that day.
Yeah, that's right. But, no, it's been great, and I can't believe it's 4 years already. And, you know, when it came up, time for us to run again, I couldn't believe that it was 4 years already. And time flies, but your input has been awesome,
Thank you.
and we're gonna miss you.
I'll miss you guys too. Thank you. Now I have to
Wait a
stand
minute.
up. Oh, hold on.
Oh,
You're not getting to talk. It's not just you guys.
If I can just say a few words on behalf of the administrative team and our staff, I think I echo what the staff feels about you, Katie. I've always appreciated your honesty. You're of high integrity. Whenever I would call you, I knew I would get open and honest answers. You could be very direct, and I always appreciated that. I mean that in a positive way.
Thank you.
And most of all, the passion that you have for kids is second to none. Thank you.
As the newest member up here on this table, I've only had the pleasure of working with Katie for a year and a half. I want her to praise her on her recognition of talent by hiring Gene and I. Seriously, though, in terms of Katie, there are over 3,000 school board members in the state of Ohio. And if half of them had your intelligence, your passion, your caring about kids, the schools across the state would be a better place. Marty, thank you for sharing her with us. We will miss you. But we know your phone number. And if we want honest feedback, we will call you. So, thank you for your service.
Or some pretty crazy video clips and text messages.
oh, yes.
You have a lot to live up to, Marty.
You better get
How
on
to
your
use
gift
the
game.
Here's a wall hanging for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Don't let go.
See, it did it. It started leaking. I didn't even talk.
I get Kevin last.
Did you want a picture, Pam?
Oh.
Or out front?
All right, back to the business,
Yep.
business at hand here. Item 9, Budget and Finance, approval of the monthly financial report and the resolution that Mr. Philo discussed about the county auditor's millage rates, and disposal of a couple of vans from the maintenance group. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Reister. Thank you, Mrs. Malad.
Mrs. Reister,
Yes.
Mrs. Malad,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt,
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries. Item 10, administrative reports and superintendent recommendations, usual hirings and stipends, and call your attention. However, on page 3, we have two significant retirements. We have Jennifer Gillespie, the music teacher at the intermediate school. Boy, having her retire is going to be a real hole in the network, because she lays the foundation for Karen Garetta and much of her choral music groups later on. Resolution of tribute for 36 years in education, 35 of them here at Fairborn. So nearly her entire career here at Fairborn. And watching her work with the kids, she just genuinely really loves working with those students. It's really a pleasure to watch and see what she has going on with them. Also, Stacy Mullenkamp, a 5th grade teacher at the intermediate school, retiring at the end of the year, with 31 years in education, and all of them here at Fairborn. And there's another significant hole and a lot of experience walking out the door. We wish them both well in their retirement. I can speak that it's a great gig.
There's one more on page 4.
Page 4. Okay, Kathy Kiesecker, it's retiring from the primary school, so. And now, let's see. And then approve the resolution for participation in the OFCC's, the Ohio Facility Construction Commission. For those unfamiliar with all of our acronyms, the Segmented School District Program, the Expedited Local Partnership Program. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Malad.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. Any additional comments on these? Anything? No? Okay.
Mrs. Malad,
Yes.
Mr. Browning,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes.
Ms. Reister,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, motion carries.
Items 11 and 12 will be deleted. There is no need for an executive session, so we'll move right into a work session.
Okay.
Don't anticipate any other further action except adjournment after that.